Rep. Maxine Waters warns reporter over LA homeless story, "You'll hurt yourself." But the real bit here is that she told homeless people to go home. So let me get there. They say Maxine Waters tried to stop the publication of a news story about about Los Angeles homeless crisis this week, reportedly telling an Los Angeles Times scribe, "You'll hurt yourself and the community trying to put this together." Investigative reporter Connor Sheets detailed a March 25th incident in South LA where hundreds of homeless people tried to obtain Section 8 housing vouchers after being misled by social media rumors. The would-be applicants crashed an event held by nonprofit advocacy group Fathers and Mothers Who Care, which had been meant to help the unhoused obtain emergency shelter. At one point, Waters told the crowd, "I want everybody to go home," triggering an angry response. "We don't got no home. That's why we're here," one member of the crowd yelled back. According to the LA Times, what home we gonna go to?
Good for that person.
This is insane. LA is the nightmare dystopia we read about as kids that we were warned about. The politicians yelling at homeless people to go home. The homeless people just everywhere. Skid Row expanding, drugs and feces all over the place. California is a wasteland. Man.
Tomorrow, Snopes is going to be like, well, technically, she didn't say which home they should go to. So
the underpass does count.
Exactly.
Seamus.
Yeah, she meant their tent.
She
You know what I love?
She could have been referring to someone else's house.
Here's what I love. I love it when these leftists post photos from like the mountains of California, and they'll say things like, "Those conservatives, smack talking California. This is what it's really like."
If you got money.
Right, exactly. It's like you go to the Palisades and you're looking at the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, and you're like, "Look how beautiful this place is." Sure, just like in Elysium. The French-speaking people in their space station, I'm sure they're looking around being like, "What's wrong with our country? Everything's beautiful here where rich people live."
It's like being a multimillionaire receiving experimental treatment for your disease and being like, people claim that our healthcare system isn't good. Like, check this out.
Yeah.
It's just imagine... It's the Hunger Games, man. The people in the Capitol are drinking Ipecac to vomit to keep eating. And they're like, "What's wrong? Everything's great. Life is good, huh?" Mm-hmm. It's like, people are like living in their own waste and taking dumps in the street.
I guess a nice piece of news out of this is Michael Schellenberger, who's been on the show before, is running for governor, California governor. And he's focused heavily on the homeless population and helping clean it up.
Yeah, but, look, as much as I can appreciate it, if somebody wanted to become mayor of a garbage dump, I'm going to be like, bro, good luck, I guess.
Yeah, because Rogan, he was on Rogan a couple of days ago, and he said, Rogan's like, "What? Just focus on LA first." And he's like, LA is like too far gone to start on. We can't, he didn't. I don't know if he said too far gone, but he's like, "We'll start small, and then if we can succeed, then we'll go to LA."
It would be. What if he went on Rogan and he was like, "Well, actually, my plan is to segment LA and San Francisco and push them into the Pacific, and then instantly the collective poverty and problems and everything that's wrong, the corruption, will drop dramatically in California." So just
it's like a blood transfusion.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like it's like.
But with people instead of blood.
Lopping off the malignancy.
Yeah, exactly.
We can also build islands.
It's so rich, too, because it's the people from California who have these really big, great, creative ideas about how we can fix the rest of the country, even though nowhere is really quite as bad as California
I think it's
right
too
now.
big.
And, well, it's also funny because they're constantly complaining about Florida. They're constantly complaining about what goes on in Florida while their state is falling apart. It's like, well, I don't know. DeSantis has not indicated any ambitions to try to change how things are done in California. I'm pretty sure he's just going to let that dumpster fire burn.
We joke about California kicking off LA, but what if Ron DeSantis was like, "We're going to separate Florida from the rest of this country, only by a few hundred feet, so that Florida is sovereign and protected and we don't got to worry."
A moat around
right.
A wall,
full of gators, dude.
Full of gators.
Hungry alligators, electric eels.
And he can sell it
piranhas.
as like an alligator sanctuary project.
Yeah.
Please don't feed the alligators all in
Don't
caps.
do it.
Yeah.
He's done more to conserve.
Please don't feed the alligators.
all in caps.
Yeah.
And then you got to have a wall with a moat with another wall with another moat with another wall. So if you go off the wall, you just fall into the moat.
Yeah.
So this is what's funny because they actually claimed Trump proposed a moat full of alligators, which he clearly didn't do. It's just the funniest. You know
what's an even dumber border security idea? Telling them all that they can get free healthcare if they come here, and like having our politicians argue that we should be giving free services to everyone who crosses the border.
Look at this story with Maxine Waters. A bunch of homeless people were told you could show up And then Maxine Waters just yells at him, tells him to go home.
So I mean, she's so I don't know, connected, I guess, from
She
humanity.
She yelled at him. She said, "Excuse me, there's nobody in Washington who works for their people any effing harder than I do. I don't want to hear this.
What?
No, no, no."
Here's the thing.
Maxine, when you're surrounded by homeless people and you yell at them to go home, and then when they get mad, you say, hey, nobody fights harder than me. It's like,
She's like, do you know how hard I have it?
yeah, right.
Do you know
No,
how
that's-
difficult my life is?